All right, guys, I hope y'all having a great day today. We're out here in our backyard garden today, and we're going to try to make some sauerkraut. And so I thought I would bring you along, and we'll gather some of our cabbage. I'm not going to get all of it, but I thought I might show you a little bit of what I do there. And I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to try to make this in the winter or cold months. Today's November the 24th. It's just 2 days before Thanksgiving 2020, and we're going to try making this. Now this is going to be a long-term process. It's not going to be something that'll happen within a couple of days or a week or something like that. This may even be on into the new year when we get this done. So anyway, I'm going to turn this camera around, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can't gather a little bit of cabbage off. Okay guys, I got this off. Normally I wouldn't harvest those little ones like that, but they're probably not going to make anything. I've got 3 more left. They're really not worth trying to use to make kraut with, but I'm going to leave them. If they do, they do. They don't, they don't. But when you harvest them off, you want to save a handful of your big leaves, because I do use those when I get ready to pack it in and salt it down, and I'll show you more about that. But we're going to go in the house now, and we're going to get this washed down and get it ready, and so we'll get started on that process. I do want to say we've had a cool snap. I don't know if you can see behind me, but it may not be showing up that well, but we had a fire this morning, started one last night, and I didn't realize it was supposed to be this cool, but it was. So anyway, we did have a light frost this morning, so I didn't want to come out here and gather these off with ice on them. I let the frost burn off, and it's, you know, it's like middle of the day now, so I've went out and harvested them. And I was a little concerned that might affect the texture of the cabbage. So anyway, we're going to try this. And the best part about this, guys, this cabbage has not had any dust on it. It's not had no pesticides on it. This is, and I've been blessed this year right here with no worms or anything bothering my cabbage. Usually there is a place or two here and there I see it on there, but thankfully all of my brassica plants, I've been blessed this fall, and I thank the good Lord above for that. And let me just spin this around and I'll give you a little preview of what we got here. Okay, now we're in business. There you can see our collards. And guys, I'm not familiar with a Vates collard. This is my first time having these. Typically we grow the Georgia flats. But these, the way I understand it, you can just harvest these by breaking the leaves off and leaving the plant there, and the center will actually bush out and make more. I've heard that you can actually, and you know, if the weather permits, you can actually do that pretty much all winter long. So that's a sustainable food source there. And here you can see our broccoli. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 heads, and I've done harvested. I come out here and I harvested these two right here here the other week. So I've got 3 more that's really getting close, and there's one that's budding out. So, and they're small this year for whatever reason, but they're good. The stalk is not pethy on the inside, so that's another good sign. Don't know what that is. Same thing with that up there on the end. If it's a cauliflower, it's going to be slow. There's something trying to head there, but it looks just like leaves in there. I don't know what that is. I may break the leaves off and eat them. So anyway, okay guys, we're going to go in the house and show you a little bit of what I do to prepare my cabbage for making kraut, and we'll get on with that. See you then. Okay guys, I'm here in the house. I've got my cabbage brought in and I just put it in the sink. I've run some cold water in here with a little bit of salt in the water, and I'm just going to let it soak in here for a few minutes, and then we'll get it out and we'll begin to cut it up. I'll remove especially these bigger heads. I'm going to remove the cores on that, and the outer leaves like this right here, I do want to keep me a few of them, and I'll show you what I do with that when we're ready to put it in the crock. And so anyway, I'm gonna let this soak for a few minutes, and then we'll take it out and drain it and take it over here to the bar, and we'll begin cutting it up. See you then. Alright guys, I'll show you how I cut these up. Split it right down the middle. As you can see, these heads, they're not full like they would be if they were in the, I don't know why, but wintertime, that's the way cabbage always does. This is the way I do a core. I'll just take and pop it out just like that. I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to go in here and do this, but it's still good cabbage, so I don't want, oh yeah, real good cabbage. We don't want to waste it. No more than we can help. Okay. I'll set this back in here because I'm going to rinse this off one more time. That one's a little tighter. See how I just take that knife and go on an angle. This would make some good steamed cabbage and cornbread. One great big one in here, and I'm going to take these leaves right here. I'm going to keep these, put those in my water. That leaf right there, you can see it's a little discolored, so I'm making a mess. Alright. Drain that out in there. And if you don't get all the core out, it's not a big deal. Okay. This is just a small batch compared to what I have made. Guys, I have made as much as 100 quarts. And that's a lot of cabbage. Okay guys, we're going to try to cut some of this up. Some of it will, it's small, I think it'll cut up like it is. Now, I want to say something. Here, we always like ours chopped versus, I know a lot of people will shred it. And we just would rather have it chopped. I mean, that's the way pretty much we've always done it here. I've eat it shredded. I really don't, I prefer it chopped myself. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to cheat. We have chopped it with a homemade kraut chopper, which is nothing more than a sidewalk scraper that's had an edge put on it. So, give you an example of what I do here. We like it chopped pretty fine, not like slaw. Okay, now I'm going to take this out. And I will go ahead and put this in here. Now, I know some people say to take a wooden mallet and kind of break your cabbage down a little bit, and I don't do that because, for the simple fact, chopping this so fine, I really don't see that you need to. So, but if you do shred your cabbage, it's still not a bad idea to do that. Okay guys, you kind of get the picture of what I'm doing here, so I'm going to finish this up and then I'll show you the next step. Okay guys, I got it chopped up. Now that'll pack down just a little bit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use some salt on it. And when you make kraut, always use plain salt. Now plain table salt will work. Make sure it's non-iodized, because if you put that in there, it will turn it cloudy. But I'm going to sprinkle some salt on this. I'm going to let it set for just a little bit. This amount here looks like we might have about a gallon. So I'm probably going to put maybe a tablespoon at the max in here of salt. And I'm going to sprinkle that on. I'm going to let it kind of wilt down just a little bit. And then I'll show you what we're going to do from there. Guys, I'm just using a spoon here to stir this with. But as I stir it, that salt's going to start bringing the juices out of that cabbage. But did want to say this. There might be more than a gallon of cabbage here. But I don't have a rate, like a weight to cabbage ratio of salt to cabbage. I don't know exactly what that would be. I just taste mine, and that's what I'm going to do right now. And I go by the taste of it. and that is just right. When you taste it, you should taste salt, but that's not all you should taste. The salt should not override the cabbage, and it don't. So you should have just a little salt taste on it, and from then on you should be okay. So anyway, I'm gonna let this set and kind of cure out just a little bit, and then we'll pack it down, and I'll take those leaves that I showed you over there, we're gonna lay that on top. We're gonna get this ready to sour. So I'll get back with you here in a few minutes. I'm gonna let it set for just a little while. Okay guys, this camera stand is not quite tall enough. As you can see, the juice is starting to work out of this, and around the sides here I took a towel, little paper towel, and just kind of wiped that down. You don't want a lot of cabbage up on the upper side of this. You want it all kind of packed down. But you can see the juice is really starting to work out of it now. I have not added no water to this other than what was on it when I cut it up. So that's about the way I like it. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can lean that camera right there if it don't fall. We will take these leaves that I saved, and we're going to place them in here just like so. And this will kind of help hold the cabbage down. Just like that. Okay. Somewhere I've got a rock that I put down in here. But what I'm going to do, I've got a rock that I'll set on this board. This is just a piece of plywood that I cut to fit down in this hole. And I will take and lay a rock on top of that. And then what I'll do, it's dark and I ain't got time to take y'all down to the building. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay a rock right on top of this, and then I'm going to cover it, add water until that rock is submerged in water. And I'll sprinkle just a little bit of salt in that water. And then what we'll do, I've got a clean sheet that I'm going to put over this, and we're going to tie it off around here, seal it up good, keep it down there. The ideal temperature is between 65 and 75 degrees for normal fermentation. If it gets below 65, it won't hurt it, but it'll just slow the fermentation down. Now if it starts getting up into the 80s, up in the 90s, you stand a good risk of killing the yeast, and it will not sour. So, you know, it's just going to take it a long time. I'm guessing it's going to be at least after Christmas, if not going into the new year, before this will be ready. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep an eye on it, and you want to keep it watched on top of your water. One thing, you want to maintain your water level, but you want to watch for any mold that might begin to grow around the top of it. You'll want to skim that off. And you probably want to check for that maybe at least once, if not twice a week. Just depends on, you know, weather conditions and whatnot. But I've seen people store this in their basement. I've seen them store it in a root cellar. In the old days, they would store it out in a smokehouse. They would store it out in a spring house, you know, places like that. But this is just going in the outbuilding, and don't want it in the house. That would just not be a fragrance that I don't believe people would appreciate. But anyway, you want to be careful that you keep the top sealed off with something so that it can breathe. Now, my plan is I'm going to put that sheet over it. I'm going to tie it around there so there can't nothing get in it. And I've got that little bucket that I'll just turn over top of it, and we'll leave it like that. And so I'm allowing at least 4 weeks for this to sour and sour good. So we'll see what happens. But I'll do that video when I check it, you know, for the final time. I'll do that in a separate video, and maybe along the line I can keep y'all posted of any progress that I might know of. So anyway, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment below, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. And I hope y'all found this helpful, and we'll try to do more videos like this in the future. Y'all have a great day. Thank you from Little NC Farmer.